It would be weird for me or anybody for that matter to tell you how to network, but I'm going to do it anyway. For me, networking has been super important in my career. So, depending on how you define your career, some people are all into a career where it's about corporate advancement, and some people are about just finding people. And for me, networking has been super important. If you ever go to one of these sessions and there's a whole bunch of people there, and then they say to you, someone tells you, just get a bunch of business cards. Most of us can tell you that's not going to work. What I do is I find a person and I don't really ask them, like, what's your job or what's your title? I know some people do that and that helps them to understand things, to compartmentalize people, but I don't do it. What I do is I ask them, just tell me a little bit about you, what you're into, what's exciting for you these days. And some people, for a lot of people, they don't know the answer to that, but it gets them start thinking. Says, what is indeed exciting for me? And they'll start talking, and then you start to actively listen. And actively listen means like you're not listening just so you can jump in. You're listening to really understand them and what's going on. So there's networking events, and there's a whole bunch of people trying to connect with everybody. And for me personally, I usually connect two, maybe three people genuinely. And if I do that, then I'll exchange information with them. But I don't go around, I don't hand out cards. Quite frankly, I don't even carry cards. If it's somebody that's really want to connect with, I'll either capture their phone number or I have one of those platforms like Dot or Hi Hello, where they can scan a QR code and get my contact info. I don't walk around with cards a lot for that purpose because I don't want to be like, I got to get these out of my hand. I got to get these out of my jacket. I just got to give them out. I want my conversations to be intentional. That's what you should think about too. And if you're in a career transition, I was in career transition years ago and it really hurt me. It hurt me because I loved the company that I was with. I really did. I loved it. I loved everything it was about. I loved the values. And then next day I got a thing and it says you're not here anymore. So I said, well, what do I do with that? What do I do with this? Beyond the financial ramifications, which lasted a long time. Well, what did I do? And a lot of people say, yeah, just call up people that you know. For me, that didn't work. For me, it was like, who who can I tell this story to? Who will listen to me, and then generally tell them what I'm concerned about or what's my expertise in a genuine way, and then talk to them about what the future could look like. And here's the key thing, especially if you're in a transition: do not ask anybody for a job or what you've got going on. What your company hiring? You hiring people? Ask for that. And I learned this from someone years ago. It was really about asking for guidance or advice. I've yet to meet a human being on the planet Earth who does not wish to give anyone advice about something. Every single person that I know gives advice or wishes to give advice. Even if the advice is, I don't really have much advice, but let me tell you this one thing. Everyone's got something going on in their mind that they want to give out and share. So think about that when you're networking, because this is the key. Especially, I'm talking to you in an age where there's a lot of technological disruption that's going on. This intermediation, I learned that years ago when something pops in to the system or the way things were and just totally upsets it. In the writing world, we'll call that like the enticing moment, or inciting moment when something happens that changes the rest of the story going forward. I don't want to be flat-footed again, caught flat-footed. I don't think you do either. I don't know what the future holds. A lot of people say, hey, new technology is going to take over everybody's job. I don't know. I can't tell you whether I believe that or not. What I can tell you is that if you network people, I mean, genuinely say, hey, Once you meet someone, say, hey, can we keep in contact? Like, whatever time frame do you agree upon? In some cases, I'll meet someone and say, yeah, let's chat every 2 months or 6 months. Whatever that is what it is. And then it's on you to make sure you have a system like what we share here in the Fearless Productivity Show, a system that reminds you that, hey, I needed to say hello to Jill. I met Jill at a conference. And when you're capturing things, do not capture it. I don't like the whole thing of capturing it and writing down on a note card and all that kind of stuff. I know it worked many years ago, but get back once the networking session is over. Then from there, when you're inputting that person into your system, don't keep the card somewhere. So let me just have this little stack of cards to call upon. Input it into a system. So whether you have a phone system or some other system, and say, yes, I did meet Jill on 9/7, and this is what we talked about, and this is what happened. That is how you keep your networking on top. So when you meet Jill again, oh yeah, Jill, we did meet at that conference. Instead of your brain trying to remember that you met Jill at the conference, to me, that will drive you nuts. It drives me nuts trying to remember when I met a person. However, if I put it in the system and say, hey, I met Jill on this date, and this is what happened. Then when I talk to her again, and this is not so you can try to wiggle your way to get a job. I'm telling you this about networking because if you're genuine about it, you're genuinely trying to get to know people. You're not just thinking about it so you can parlay that into your next opportunity. You are genuinely trying to get to know a person. And if you do that, that is what the key of networking is about. That's how you make sure that this thing you went to was valuable to you. And I will be frank with you. You need to network all of the time, every day. Even if it's just to say hello to somebody you met 2, 3 years ago, send them a LinkedIn note, say thank you so much for whatever it is. Networking is your all of our jobs. Most jobs we find aren't posted somewhere. The last 3 opportunities, maybe 4 in my life that I've had, they weren't posted anywhere. They were because I talked to someone about what's going on with me, what I needed help with, and I asked them for advice. That led to one thing, led to another thing, led to another. Maybe that's the right way to do it. The technological systems have become so cumbersome, it's hard to tell. Like which website? Are you just doing this to fill somebody else's quota when you go online and you're trying to put some application? That takes up so much time. And it's massively exhausting. If I'm going to be exhausted, I might as well be exhausted trying to reach out to people that I know versus trying to put in systems so somebody in some recruiting area can hit their quota. Because yeah, we had a bunch of applicants, even though the role was already filled by Max over there 2 weeks ago. We still had a bunch of applicants. Our pipeline is good. That will help you out when you're looking for a role. That's why networking is key. And networking and keeping the people that you network within a system, like inside of your notes system, whether it's Apple Notes or even if you have a basic CRM of things, making sure you have every single one of those people captured. Just like if you have a business, because you're the business. You're the person. Your career is a business. Like businesses need leads. Businesses need customers. You need networking. This is Winston with the Fearless Productivity Show. I hope I can help you in any way I can, and make sure that you reach out to me and do all the fun stuff, subscribe, and check out the other videos. Thank you all so much. I will talk to you soon.